9 Golden Age Hollywood stars with shockingly bad hygiene. Those gorgeous faces that lit up silver screens. They were hiding Hollywood's filthiest secrets. Behind the glamour and designer gowns lurked breath that could kill small animals. Body odor that emptied rooms and personal habits so revolting that studios paid millions to keep them buried. These weren't just stars with occasional bad days. These were walking biohazards, who made their co-stars suffer for their art. The shocking truth about these golden age icons will forever ruin how you watch their classic films. Get ready to hold your nose as we expose the 9 most disgusting stars ever to grace a movie marquee. 1. Clark Gable, the king of Hattusas. Clark Gable, Hollywood's ultimate heartthrob, whose smile made women faint worldwide. But his leading ladies weren't swooning from desire. They were fighting not to vomit. Behind that famous mustache lurked a rotting horror show. Gable wore full dentures by age 32, not partial. Full thanks to a gum infection so catastrophic his teeth practically jumped out of his skull to escape. The resulting mouth rot created breath so toxic it should have come with a hazard warning. Vivien Leigh needed smelling salts between takes on Gone with the Wind during their famous kiss scenes. She later confessed to mentally going somewhere else like victims of torture, but Loretta Young got it worst on Call of the Wild, where she reportedly vomited after a kissing scene and told her assistant, "Kissing Clark is like French kissing a corpse that's been pickled in vinegar." One cameraman described the experience of filming Gable in close-up. It was like pointing your camera into the devils after a chili cook-off. Studios deployed industrial-strength solutions, with MGM reportedly creating a dedicated Gable breath emergency kit containing mouthwash, mints, and actual nose plugs for crew members filming in confined spaces. None of it worked. His dentures, rarely cleaned and poorly fitted, trapped food particles that decomposed into what one gaffer called a stench that could strip wallpaper. As one studio insider brutally put it, they called him a gentleman until they got close enough to smell the truth. Then they called him, "Oh God, not again." The next time you watch Gable's romantic scenes, remember you're witnessing Hollywood's greatest special effect. Women looking love-struck while being blasted with breath that could kill houseplants at 20 paces. Anyway, I'm drinking more. It's good for you, Bob. 2. Marlon Brando, the human garbage barge. Marlon Brando revolutionized acting while simultaneously revolutionizing new frontiers in human stink. The man who mumbled the horror in Apocalypse Now, was actually describing his own personal hygiene. Brando didn't just occasionally skip showers. He treated cleanliness like it had personally insulted his mother. He routinely arrived on sets having not bathed for days, wearing clothes so ripe they could have qualified for their own zip code. One on the waterfront crew member said Brando's costume smelled like low tide at a fish market during a garbage strike. His grossest habit, deliberately sabotaging intimate scenes by weaponizing his own filth. On Last Tango in Paris, he reportedly ate copious amounts of blue cheese and refused to brush his teeth before filming with Maria Schneider. During the Missouri breaks, he wore the same underwear for the entire 3-month shoot, proudly announcing this achievement at rap parties. By the time he filmed Apocalypse Now, Brando had evolved into what director Francis Ford Coppola privately called a sentient swamp. His trailer reportedly required hazardous waste protocols after he left, with one set decorator confessing we had to burn the furniture. I'm not kidding. It was cheaper than trying to clean what he left behind. His performances were legendary. One grip who worked on multiple Brando films recalled, "So was his stink. It had layers like an onion. First sweat, then rancid food, then something that I think was actually decomposing on his body." The tragedy of Brando wasn't just his wasted talent, but that an entire generation of method actors thought smelling like month-old garbage was somehow part of the craft. As Apocalypse Now co-star Dennis Hopper supposedly remarked after filming, "Working with Brando gave me a whole new appreciation for napalm. I love 3. Steve McQueen, oil slick in human form. Steve McQueen, the king of cool, should have been called the emperor of OD2 grease trap. Hollywood's rebel icon treated personal hygiene as just another rule to break, creating a stench that was anything but cool. McQueen's obsession with motorcycles and race cars extended to smelling exactly like them. He'd show up to romantic scenes covered in engine grease, transmission fluid, and what one makeup artist called a funk so thick you could have spread it on toast. Rather than showering between working on his vehicles and filming, McQueen would perform what co-stars called the pit stop special, wiping his armpits with paper towels, splashing cologne on top of dirt, and declaring himself camera ready. He'd wipe his armpits with paper towels, then go right back to filming, recalled one horrified set assistant. But the paper towels just moved the stink around, like trying to clean up an oil spill with a cocktail napkin. The irony that still haunts Hollywood? McQueen was fanatical about cleaning his cars and motorcycles, spending hours polishing and perfecting machines while his own body festered. His 1968 Ford Mustang from Bullitt received more careful attention than his own teeth, which one lighting technician described as the exact color of butterscotch pudding, but with the texture of cottage cheese. Faye Dunaway, his co-star in the Thomas Crown Affair, reportedly demanded their kissing scenes be shot in as few takes as possible. The director later revealed this wasn't artistic preference, but survival instinct after Dunaway compared kissing McQueen to licking the floor of an auto repair shop. Perhaps the most telling McQueen hygiene anecdote came from The Great Escape set, where fellow actor James Garner reportedly said, "When Steve took off his boots in the pea barrack scenes, the Nazis should have just surrendered. That smell violated the Geneva Convention." As one studio exec perfectly summarized, he made cool look easy and hygiene look impossible. The next time you watch McQueen's iconic motorcycle scenes, remember what you can't experience is the eye-watering cloud that followed him like cartoon stink lines made real. "Ricky, who am I going to get to serve dinner tonight?" Hi, for Tula Bankhead, the proud queen of filth. Tula Bankhead didn't just break social norms. She dragged them through dirt and then rolled around in them. Unlike stars who hid their filthy habits, Bankhead flaunted hers like badges of honor in a crusade against basic cleanliness. "I never wash. I have an agreement with the dirt." Wasn't just a witty line, but her actual life philosophy. Stage managers reported that Bankhead sometimes went weeks without bathing, creating what one described as a miasma that followed her like a loyal but unwelcome pet. Her dressing rooms became recognized biohazards with one Broadway theater reportedly designating hers as the Swamp and requiring special cleaning protocols after her runs ended. Bankhead's most notorious habit, proudly going underwear-free for decades, has created situations that traumatized unsuspecting crews. During the filming of Alfred Hitchcock's Lifeboat, where she spent weeks in close quarters with other actors, cinematographer Arthur Miller reportedly begged Hitchcock to make her wear underwear for scenes where she had to climb ladders. Hitchcock's famous response, "I don't know if this is a matter for the costume department, makeup, or animal control." Her personal quarters reached legendary levels of squalor. One maid at the Algonquin Hotel quit on the spot after entering Bankhead's suite, later telling the manager, "I've cleaned up crime scenes that were more sanitary." Visitors described mountains of cigarette butts, empty bottles, food remnants, and stained clothing, creating an archaeological record of debauchery. She lit up a room, then cleared it out with the smell. Theater producer Jed Harris reportedly remarked, "Tula didn't just push envelopes, she pushed everyone's gag reflexes." What made Bankhead's filthiness unique was how she incorporated it into her brand of shocking behavior. When one director gently suggested she might consider bathing before intimate scenes, Bankhead reportedly shot back, "Darling, if you wanted a rose garden, you should have cast one of those sanitized MGM virgins. You hired Tula Bankhead, and you get all of me, including the parts that haven't seen soap since the Hoover administration. I haven't played since playing in the Thousand Islands many years ago. Oh, I used to be in the dressing business up 5. W.C. Fields, walking distillery with legs? W.C. Fields didn't just play alcoholics. He was a method actor decades before the term existed. The only difference between Fields on screen and off was that the real version smelled infinitely worse. Fields marinated himself in alcohol so thoroughly that lighting technicians would nervously check
The wattage of lamps near him, fearing he might combust.
His daily routine began with martinis for breakfast. Not alongside breakfast, instead of breakfast. By midday, his sweat could have been bottled and sold as gin. His breath didn't just smell like alcohol, one assistant director recalled. It smelled like alcohol that had been used to preserve other, smaller alcoholics. Co-stars described the experience of sharing close scenes with Fields as like being trapped in an elevator. The whiskey still that's wearing a suit. The alcohol-induced hygiene issues went far beyond just breath. Fields rarely bathed, creating what one cost him.